Hi everyone, it's Carla from the local library. Hope you guys are doing well. Welcome to another video of Classics with Carla. We are still reading Anne of Green Gables. We are on chapter 27. In the last chapter, Anne, she made a story club, a story writing club basically, and they read a bunch of stories and they read it out loud and everything. It's supposed to encourage the imagination, and like Anne is leading it because she has so much imagination. They seem to be doing a good job. Well, the writing, the funny part is every time they read a story to an adult, they always laugh at the wrong places. So I don't know what's going on, but you know, they're 13-year-old girls who are writing stories, so what do you expect? Alright, so anyways, sorry, this is chapter 27. We're on Vanity and Vexation of Spirits. Alright, let's get started. Marilla, walking home one late April evening from an aid meeting, realized that the winter was over and gone with the thrill of delight that spring never fails to bring to the oldest and saddest, as well as to the youngest and merriest. Marilla was not given the subjective analysis of her thoughts and feelings. She probably imagined that she was thinking about the aids in their missionary box and the new carpet for the vestry room, but under these reflections was a harmonious consciousness of red fields smoking to pale purpley mists in the declining sun, of long sharp-pointed fir shadows falling over the meadow beyond the brook, of still crimson budding maples around a mirror-like wood pool, of awakening in the world and a stir of hidden pulses under the gray sod. The spring was broad in the land, and Marilla's sober middle-aged step was lighter and swifter because of its deep primeval gladness. Her eyes dwelt affectionately on the Green Gables, peering through its network of trees and reflecting the sunlight back from its windows in several little coruscations of glory. Marilla, as she picked her steps along the damp lane, thought that it was really a satisfaction to know that she was going home to a briskly snapping wood fire and a table nicely spread for tea, instead of to the cold comfort of old aid evenings before Anne had come to Green Gables. Consequently, when Marilla entered her kitchen and found the fire black out with no sign of Anne anywhere, she was justly disappointed and irritated. She had told Anne to be sure and have tea ready at 5 o'clock, but now she must hurry to take off her second best dress and prepare the meal herself against Matthew's return from plowing. "I'll settle Miss Anne when she gets home," said Marilla grimly, as she shaved up kindlings with a carving knife in more vim than was strictly necessary. Matthew had come in and was waiting patiently for his tea in his corner. "She's gadding off somewhere with Deanna, writing stories or practicing dialogues or some such tomfoolery, and never thinking once about the time or her duties. She's just got to be pulled up short and sudden on the sort of thing. I don't care if Miss Allen does say she's the brightest and sweetest child she ever knew. She may be bright and sweet enough, but her head is full of nonsense, and there's never any knowing what shape it'll break out next. Just as soon as she grows out of one freak, she takes up another. But there. Here, I am saying the very thing I was so riled with Rachel Lynde for saying at the aid today. I was glad when Miss Allen spoke up for Anne, for if she hadn't, I know I'd have said something too sharp to Rachel before anybody. Anne's got plenty of faults, goodness knows, and far be it from me to deny. But I'm bringing her up, and not Rachel Lynde, who would pick faults in the angel Gabriel himself if he lived in Avonlea. Just the same, Anne has no business to leave the house like this when I told her she has to stay home this afternoon and look after things. I must say, with all her faults, I never found her disobedient or untrustworthy before, and I'm really sorry to find her so now." "Well, now, I don't know," said Matthew, who, being patient and wise and above all hungry, had deemed it best to let Marilla talk her wrath out unhindered, having learned by experience that she got through with whatever work was on hand much quicker if not delayed by untimely arguments. "Perhaps your judgment in her judging her too hasty, Marilla. Don't call her untrustworthy until you're sure she's disobeyed you. Maybe it can all be explained. Anne's a great hand at explaining." "She's not here when I told her to stay," retorted Anne. "I reckon she'll find it hard to explain that to my satisfaction." "Of course I know you take her part, Matthew, but I'm bringing her up, not you." It was dark when supper was ready, and still no sign of Anne. Coming hurriedly over the log bridge or up Lover's Lane, breathless and repentant with a sense of neglected duties, Marilla washed and put away the dishes grimly. Then, wanting a candle to light her down the cellar, she went up to the east gable for the one that generally stood on Anne's table. Lighting it, she turned around to see Anne, lying herself on the bed, face downward among the pillows. "Mercy on us," said astonished Marilla. "Have you been asleep, Anne?" "No," was the muffled reply. "Are you sick, then?" demanded Marilla anxiously, going over to the bed. Anne cowered deeply into her pillows as if desirous of hiding herself forever from mortal eyes. "No, but please, Marilla, go away and don't look at me. I'm in the depths of despair, and I don't care who gets head in class or writes the best composition or sings in the Sunday choir anymore. Little things like that are of no importance now because I don't suppose I'll ever be able to go anywhere again. My career is closed. Please, Marilla, go away and don't look at me." "Did anyone ever hear the like?" the mystified Marilla wanted to know. "Anne Shirley, whatever is the matter with you? What have you done? Get up this minute and tell me. This minute, I say. There now. What is it?" Anne had slid to the floor in despairing obedience. "Look at my hair, Marilla," she whispered. Accordingly, Marilla lifted her candle and looked very closely at Anne's hair, flowing in heavy masses from her back. It certainly had a very strange appearance. "Anne Shirley, what have you done to your hair? Why, it's green." Green it might be called if it were any earthly color. A queer, dull, bronzy green with streaks here and there of the original red to heighten the ghastly effect. Never in all her life had Marilla seen anything so grotesque. Grotesque. I knew that word. I had to say it before I moved on. Never in all her life had Marilla seen anything so grotesque as Anne's hair at the moment. "Yes, it's green," moaned Anne. "I thought nothing could be as bad as red hair, but now it's 10 times worse to have green hair. Oh, Marilla, you little know how utterly wretched I am." "I little know how you got into this fix, but I mean to find out," said Marilla. "Come right down to the kitchen. It's too cold up here, and tell me just what you've done. I've been expecting something weird to happen for some time. You haven't got into any scrape for over 2 months, and I was sure another one was due. Now then, what did you do to your hair?" "I dyed it." "Dyed it? Dyed your hair? Anne Shirley, didn't you know that was a wicked thing to do?" Yes, I knew it was a little wicked," admitted Anne, "but I thought it was worthwhile to be a little wicked to get rid of my red hair. I counted the cost, Marilla. Besides, I meant it to be extra good in other ways to make up for it." "Well," said Marilla sarcastically, "if I decided it was worthwhile to dye my hair, I'd have dyed it a decent color at least. I wouldn't have dyed it green." "But I didn't mean to dye it green, Marilla," protested Anne. "If I was wicked, I meant to be wicked to some purpose. He said it would turn my hair beautiful or even black. He positively assured me that it would. How could I doubt his word, Marilla? I know what it feels like to have your word doubted, and Miss Allen says we should never suspect anyone of not telling us the truth unless we have proof that they're not. I have proof now. Green hair is proof enough for anybody, but I hadn't then." "Who said? Who are you talking about?" "The peddler that was here this afternoon. I bought the dye from him." "Anne Shirley, how often have I told you never to let one of those Italians in the house? I don't believe in encouraging them to come around at all." Excuse me. My throat is really dry today. I have really bad allergies. So that's it. Okay. "Oh, I didn't let him in the house. I remembered what you told me, and I went out, carefully shut the door, and looked at his things on the step. Besides, he wasn't Italian. He was a German Jew. He had a big box full of very interesting things, and he told me he was working hard to make enough money to bring to his wife and children out in Germany. He spoke so freely about them that it touched my heart, and I wanted to buy something from him to help him in such a worthy object. Then all at once I saw the bottle of hair dye. The peddler said it was warranted to dye any hair a beautiful raven black and wouldn't wash off. In a trice I saw myself with beautiful raven black hair, and the temptation was irresistible. But the price of the bottle was 70 cents, and I only had 50 cents left out of my chicken money. I think the peddler had a very kind heart, for he said, seeing it was me, he'd sell it for 50 cents, and that was just giving it away. So I bought it, and as soon as it had gone, I came up here and applied it with an old hairbrush as the directions say. I used up the whole bottle, and oh, Marilla, when I saw the dreadful color turn my hair, I repented of being wicked, I can tell you, and I've been repenting ever since. Well, I hope you'll repent to good purpose, said Aunt Marilla severely, and that you've got your eyes open to where your vanity has led you, Anne. Goodness knows what to be done. I suppose the first thing is to give your hair a good washing to see if that'll do any good. Accordingly, Anne washed her hair, scrubbing it vigorously with soap and water, but for all the difference it had made, she might as well have been scouring its original red. The peddler had certainly spoken with truth when he declared that the dye wouldn't wash off. However, his veracity might be impeached in other respects. Oh, Marilla, what should I do? Questioned Anne in tears. I'm never going to live this down. People have pretty well forgotten my other stakes. The cake and sending Deanna drunk and flying into a temper with Miss Lynde, but they'll never forget this. They'll think I'm not respectable. Oh, Marilla, what a tangle web we weave when we first practice to deceive. That is poetry, but it is true. And oh, how Josie Pye will laugh. Marilla, I cannot face Josie Pye. I am the unhappiest girl in Prince Edward Islands. Anne's unhappiness continued for a week. During that time, she went nowhere and shampooed her hair every day. Diana, alone of outsiders, knew the fatal secret, but she promised solemnly never to tell, and it may be stated here and now that she kept her word. At the end of the week, Marilla said decidedly, it's no use, Anne. That is fast dye if ever there was any. Your hair must be cut off, and there's no other way. You can't go out with it looking like that. Anne's lips quivered, but she realized the bitter truth in Marilla's remarks. With a dismal sigh, she went for the scissors. Oh, please cut it off all at once, Marilla, and have it over. I feel that my heart is broken. This is such an unromantic affliction. The girls in books lose their hair in fevers or sell it to get money for some good deed, and I'm sure I wouldn't mind losing my hair in some such fashion half for so much. But there is nothing comfortable in having your hair cut off because you dyed it a dreadful color, is there? I'm going to weep all the time you're cutting it off if it won't interfere. It seems such a tragic thing. Anne wept then, but later on, when she went upstairs, she looked in the glass and she was calm with despair. Marilla had done her work thoroughly. It had been necessary to shingle the hair as closely as possible. The result was not becoming, to state the case as mildly as it may be. Anne promptly turned her glass to the wall. I'll never, never look at myself again until my hair grows, she exclaimed passionately. And then she suddenly righted the glass. Yes, I will too. I do penance for being wicked that way. I'll look at myself every time I come to the room and see how ugly I am. I won't try to imagine it either. I won't try to imagine it away either. I never thought I was vain about my hair of all things, but now I know I was, in spite of its being red, because it was so long and thick and curly. I expect something will happen to my nose next. Anne's clipped head made a sensation in school on the following Monday, but to her relief, nobody guessed the real reason for it, not even Josie Pye, who, however, did not fail to inform Anne that she looked like a perfect scarecrow. I didn't say anything when Josie Pye said that to me, Anne confided that evening to Marilla, who was lying on the sofa after one of her headaches, because I thought as part of my punishment I ought to bear it patiently. It's hard to be told you look like a scarecrow, and I wanted to say something back, but I didn't. I just swept her one scornful look, and then I forgave her. It makes you feel very virtuous when you forgive people, doesn't it? I mean, to devote all my energies to being good after this, I shall never try to be beautiful again. Of course, it's better to be good. I know it is, but sometimes it's so hard to believe a thing, even when you know it. I do really want to be good, Marilla, like you and Miss Ellen and Miss Stacy, and growing up to a credit to you. Diana says when my hair begins to grow, to tie a black velvet ribbon around my head with a bow on the side. She says it'll look very becoming. I will call it a snood. That sounds romantic, but I'm talking too much, Marilla. Does it hurt your head? My head is better. It was terrible bad this afternoon, though. These headaches of mine are getting worse and worse. I'll have to see a doctor about them. As for your chatter, I don't know that I mind it. I've gotten so used to it. which was Marilla's way of saying that she liked to hear it. All right, that's the end of chapter, what was it? 27. My goodness, poor Anne. I've never really had that experience. I've definitely dyed my hair, but weird colors on purpose. So I feel so bad for Anne. It must be the equivalent of a bad haircut. Poor thing. I feel so bad. All right, so we will continue on next week on to chapter 28. That's all I have for you today. Tune in next time. We have videos uploading on Classics with Carla. The videos are uploaded on Monday and Wednesday at noon. All right, guys. So stay safe, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.